Hi people! In this video I'm gonna talk about why it's probably the best time ever to step inside Dire Maul Tribute and do solo runs with your hunter. And the primary reason is basically this build right here. That random enchantment becomes 10 of a random resistance, so it can for example give you 10 frost resistance. And when you start comparing other builds to this one, you find that this is basically the best in slots plate belt with frost resistance that you can get your hands on. Now there is a epic belt with frost resistance from Asurgos, but then you have to kill Asurgos and then you have to get it to drop and then you have to win the roll, and the chance of that getting is just really low. So when you compare this to the other things, you're gonna find out that this or the leather belt from Scholomance, which also has 10 frost resistance, is basically gonna be your best in slots. I think that for DPS this one is slightly better, and of course armor wise it's way better, and also the rogues are likely gonna want that belt from Scholomance. So the frost resistance version of this one is gonna be quite sought after now that warriors eventually are gonna start working on their frost resistance set for Necerium in phase 6. And I've heard stories of this belt going for like 2000 gold. I doubt that highly, but maybe 250 gold is not unreasonable at all. It's somewhat rare. It's 3 in 11 to get this to drop, which isn't rare at all. It's like more than every third run. But then it also has, I think, 1 in 4 chance to get the right enchantment. So what is that, like 1 in 3 in like 40 runs, 44 runs, so not super rare, but decently rare, and maybe a price of 250 gold or something is reasonable, in my opinion, and that's absolutely gonna help you make a lot of gold. Now, speaking about gold, this farm is actually really, like, it scales so good with the gold inflation if you have disenchanting. And the reason for that is that each run you're gonna get 2 blues from King Gordok, and then you're gonna get 3 blues from the chest. You can get 1 in about 20 runs, this one, instead of 1 of the blues, so you'll only get 4 blues, but 1 in 20, less than 1 in 20, that's still really good odds. So on average, or basically every run, 5 blues, which you can of course either sell if it's like the weapons going for more than 6 gold, or the trinkets, or you disenchant into a large brilliant shard. Now of course the value of the large brilliant shard, why isn't it existing? There we have it. Varies a bit back and forth, but I'd say that on my server you could probably go between 4 to 5 gold for this. It's currently down to 4 gold. So 5 blues and 4 gold a piece, that's 20 gold from just the blue gear, which is really good. You can see it's even slightly above. And on top of that, of course, you get a couple of greens, depending on the value for the disenchanting materials for the green weapons. This could be a lot of extra gold, you know, if you get lucky and get 3 Greater Eternal Essences from the bow, maybe that's another 15 gold. But on average, maybe these greens give you 5 gold, so we're up at 25 gold now. And we actually haven't talked about perhaps the most valuable part yet, which is the major potions. So you can get either 5 or 6, and then it's a combination, 5 or 6 potions, and it's a combination of major healing and major mana. So on average you get like 5.5 major potions, and half of them will be, let's see what this is, will be major mana. And the major mana, like, it varies a bit on my server, maybe between 6 to above 7 gold if you sell them on a raid day. So let's just, I don't know, let's use 6.5 golds for it. I think it's slightly lower now. So 6.5 gold times 2.75, which is 5.5 divided by 2. And then plus 2.75 times 0.7, because you get like 70 silver for these. And we see that we get basically 20 gold from the major potions on an average run. Sometimes you're gonna get lucky and loot 6 major mana potions, and obviously that's gonna be almost 40 gold from just the major mana potions. But so right now we're looking at basically 45 gold from everything combined in a run. And once you're pretty good at this, you can do 5 runs an hour if you have okay gear, and we'll go through my gear in a second. Now you will have to have enchanting or disenchanting to do this, and also either engineering or blacksmithing to allow you to open the inner door, which can be done either with a large Necerium charge or with a skeleton key, I think they're called. The benefit of going engineering is that you get access to iron grenades and dynamites, which you can use to speed up the runs even more. The downside is that the large Necerium charges are like cost twice or 3 times as much as the keys. So if you want to maximize your gold per hour, I think it's actually kind of balanced, but I think that if you go blacksmithing, it's slightly more gold per hour, because it, like right now I think I have to pay 5 gold per tribute run, so it takes it down from like 45 gold to 40 gold per run. But at the same time, I can make the run slightly faster with dynamites, and this brings me on to the next part about this farm, which is that it's probably the funniest, most enjoyable gold farm in the game. Because, you know, I don't consider it like, when I'm doing my tribute runs, I don't think that I'm farming gold. I'm just enjoying doing the tribute runs. Because you step into that instance like a ninja, right? You have your timer ticking, you're micromanaging your pet like mad, you're placing your traps, throwing your grenades, feigning death, going invisible, sneaking past everything, and then assassinating the king. Yet again, more micromanagement, all this timed. You know, you can try and beat your own best time, you can try and maybe beat someone else's best time, and then in the end you get a nice reward, which has like a good basic guaranteed gold, like you're almost guaranteed like 40 gold per run, and on top of that you can get lucky and maybe get 60 gold per run or even more. Maybe you're gonna get the frost resistance girdle and make like, maybe a run is gonna give you almost 300 gold because of that. And it takes you maybe 12 minutes to do the run and then 10-20 minutes to sell the girdle. So, like I said, it's a really fun instance to do. I don't think that I'm farming gold when I'm doing it. It's like a nice byproduct of me just challenging myself, trying to beat my own best time. And then maybe I'll get the girdle and make the gold. But anyway, these are the reasons why you should probably step back into DMT if you have a hunter, in my opinion. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna look through an old clip of me doing Dire Maul tributes where I managed to beat my old record. My old record was 10 minutes 25 seconds, and in this coming clip that I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna beat it. Now, just before we go through the gear and then check that clip out, I'm just gonna say that I will try and pause that clip as few times as possible. There are some things I want to comment on, but I don't want to drag this video out and make it half an hour long, because I think that that's just too long. So about my gear, we have some Dragon Stalker pieces. This is Onyxia, and I managed to get the Soguru buff. Onyxia again, Molten Core. I think this is just bought at the auction house. Molten Core, also Molten Core. Rend, and there we have the book. This is from Dire Maul tribute runs actually. I got lucky and got the boots, and I think I bought the belt and got the boot from a Necerium run or a Beat a Whale run. Sulgarub and Molten Core. So on average, I'd say that I'm in Molten Core gear basically on this character. And that's, you know, more than enough. You can probably do this naked as long as you have a bow. But it will obviously be much easier if you have better gear. And with that said, let's move on to the clip. Now before I enter, or before you enter it and you've reset it, you want to make sure that you're completely ready to go. You want to have full health, full mana, your pet happy, full health, everything buffed, because you want to be able to go straight away so that the patrols won't get into a bad spot. And I also like to start the timer right before I enter the instance, just so it's already ticking. The first thing I do when I enter is to spam stay on my pet with Control 3, that's the basic keybind. I put him to attack this mob, place the trap, and then by clicking passive, my pet will return to the place where I put him to stay. Then wall jump up here. Now the reason why I use pet, pull, and trap instead of just scattershotting him is because if you scattershot him, scattershot will be on cooldown when you get over here and you need it again. You can go either left or right here with any one of these packs, and the only thing that really determines is which pack that looks, you know, the easiest to pass. And here I had a nice pack, so I could even use my concussive shots to skip the melee boy, and then I use my scatter shot to interrupt a caster to make sure I wouldn't take any damage or get slowed. Now while you're opening this chest for the key, if that patrol with the mage that's passing, you know, to my right now, it could be in a bad spot, and what you want to do is you pull it with your pet and then you send your pet back to attack the bugs that you have like over there. Then you want to use these pillars to avoid pulling these packs. I get a bit unlucky, but I just feign death. Make sure that he's returned and keep going. Before you start opening the door, you either want to summon your pet or rest your pet, depending on if it's dead or just despawned. And that is to try and get some natural regeneration ticks when you're opening it. And then we put our pet on stay behind this edge, put him on attack. And we're gonna use Furious Howl a lot because Furious Howl generates threats, and that will guarantee that all the mobs in a pack is going for my pet and not for me. And the reason why I placed the Frost Trap is because I wanna buy time so I can kill the eye before I continue. And I obviously don't wanna have the pack behind me in my ass. And here we use a grenade to stun all of these. And I'm gonna stun the minion with a scatter shot as well, just to guarantee that he won't cast a slow. Feign death in the middle of this square, or whatever it is. And everything looks good, so I'm just gonna keep going. Dash in, and as you can see now, mobs are gonna go for me, and then they just turn around because I used Furious Howl. Send them back to the ogre pack, and keep running. Now, maybe if I would have been very brave, I would have just kept running all the time here and scatter shot the one to the left and concussive shot the one to the right. But I decided to wait for the king and go now instead. Now a mistake I made here was that when I jumped up and ran out from the edge, I wasn't fast enough with scatter shotting him, so he evaded. And that can be an issue. And there the king was in a good position, everything looked great, so I just popped the invisibility potion. Now you want to be careful because the eyes can see you through the invisibility. That in itself isn't a problem, even though it will trigger the eye and spawn the demons, but you just run away from the eye or you kill it like this. But if you have anything close to you, when the eye sees you, then they will attack you. So if you pop the invisibility potion like I did, and you run past the king just as the eyes see you, then the king, or I mean the guard, will attack you. And here is just another case of pet pull, send back, use Furious Howl, and open the door. You can use a freezing trap or frost trap just before the stair to slow down and make sure your pet doesn't take any damage. Run in, and we want to keep going, don't waste time when you don't have to feign, try and skip as much as you can. By healing my pets, I'm not only healing my pets, but I'm making sure that the mobs behind me are gonna go for me and not my pets, and if they would have gone for my pets here, he would have died. As you could see, I should have used Furious Howl before I sent my pet back. Because I didn't, one of the melee boys went for me instead for his first attack. But everything worked out great. They still have almost full health and full mana. Now, depending on how safe you want to play it, you either only went for focus here or wait for focus and then keep going. And I mean dash, not focus. Or you wait for your feign death as well. Because if anything goes wrong there, you should feign death in that corner. You know, maybe your maybe the king, or I mean the guard, kills your pet straight away, maybe he fears it, whatever. Just make your way to that corner there. And we're actually gonna go back a little bit. If you have... the dog patrol can be in a number of spots, and it can be like there. And if it is there, I'd recommend you to pull the guard, or the captain, and the dogs, and then send him back. And to skip those, you're gonna use a grenade instead. Now, there were no dogs there, so I just used pet to pull everything. And in that corner would be where you feigned if the pet would die. And now I instead save the dynamite for the dogs. If you don't have dynamite and you're in this situation, you can pop Deterrence and Aspect of the Monkey, you Scattershot 1 and you Wing Clip 2. And then you just start running again, and then you use a concussive shot on the Scattershotted dog, and then you can run even further before you feign death. Then you can just keep running in this direction that I'm running now, and then you feign death in a few seconds. You're gonna feign death roughly here then. And before you go any further, you want to make sure that you have full health, your pet is full health, and you're at about 80% mana. Because once these spirits sees you, you will be in combat. And not only are you in combat, so you can't start eating, even if you were eating and then enter combat, you will stop regenerating health. You want to keep an eye on what staff Shorush has to determine whether he's a mage, shaman, or priest. If it's a crystal, it is a red crystal, that is a mage. This thing with the purple leaves, that is a shaman, and if it's like a priest staff, it's a priest. We get the pet into the corner, we use Furious Howl, and that will make the king and Shorush attack my pet instead of me, and now we just start draining him. Now if I get the priest, I tend to almost only focus on mana draining him. But if I get the mage or the shaman, I like to both mana drain and try to DPS them. And I would try to always get in 2 aimed shots and 2 multi-shots before I feign death on the king. In this situation I had to feign death already, and as you can see I try and do an auto shot, but I basically have to wait the full cooldown, and there is some mechanic which really slows down your auto shots if you do it right after a feign death, just so you're aware of that. And now we just keep going for the king, and what you really have to look out for now, well, besides just try and nuke down the king, drain the shaman, Shorush, and avoid getting killed, is where is the dog patrol? Now, if you want to do this really fast, you basically have to not kill the dogs, because it costs you like 3 minutes and it's really gonna slow you down. Especially when the run is like 11 minutes when you don't kill the dogs, bringing that up to 14 minutes is such a big increase. And I'm not sure if you noticed it, but earlier I marked them, and I can mark very quick because I've key bound all the marks to my numlock keys. So I can just click something and then click one of the numlock keys, and that will mark them. So soon I'm gonna start looking for the dogs, and I don't really think too consciously about them. I just keep an eye on the right every now and then, and there we see the triangle, the dogs are coming. Now, ideally, you just want to keep the Shorush and the king on this big circle where they're running back and forth, and never bring them down to the center. But if you have to, you want to run down to like the edges of the wall, because when the king or Shorush run towards you when you're down here, the chance of them pulling the dogs is much smaller, because you're just so far away from them. So I feigned death as soon as possible here, and things just worked out. And once you manage to avoid the dogs, it's basically, you basically won, unless you have really bad luck. And now you're just gonna focus on draining his mana and kill the king. And if you wanna be like a ninja, you can try and cancel Aspect of the Shida every time as you're about to take a fireball, a lightning bolt, or a mind blast, and then just reapply it. And so, right now it's just a matter of killing the king, draining his mana. And one thing I'm not sure if I'm gonna show you, because I don't know if I do it. I hope I do. So the king has a charge ability, and you can use your pet to try and have him charge in the wrong direction. I think he does it right now or something. I hope. There we go, there he did the charge, and as you can see, this bought me extra time to get even more shots back. So you send your pet out to attack, and then as soon as you got the charge proc, you run back. And if it's a shaman, you want to make sure that the totems does not like get your pet stuck. But the king has so little life now, so I think that I just shoot him down. When he's this low, I just shoot him down. Even if Shorush would be hitting me in the face, I would just kill the king anyway. And there we go, 10 minutes 18 seconds. This was a new record at the time, beating my old record by 7 seconds. In my experience, it's easiest to kill the king if you get the mage Shorush. Now what you want to do once he is dead is make your way to the captain Crumb Crush and talk to him before you open the chest. And this will count like, it's some sort of mechanic where if you skip the guards in the proper way, you're gonna get even more tribute. And the thing you have to do with this guy is talk to him. So by talking to him like this, we're gonna get 3 blue items instead of 2. And now we're just gonna loot the chest. and see what we get. Now I'm using the add-on Nova World Buff, I think it's called, and that will automatically do this dialogue for me. Get the King debuff, and now we open the chest. As you noticed, I summoned my pet to try and get the natural regeneration to heal him up. And in this I get 3 major healing, 2 major mana, a green weapon, and I actually also get unlucky and get the schemagic major whatever it is. And so this was the run. If you look at the timer down there, if you can see it, this is a 11 minute 40 seconds run, like in total completely. But you normally start the timer as soon as you enter the instance and end it when you kill the king. And so this was a nice sub. Well, I killed the king in less than 11 minutes, and I finished the dungeon in less than 12 minutes. So what I do now is just give some food to my pets, eat and drink up while I'm logging out, and then reset with my reset girl, and then go again. And so this was my video where I just tell you to go back to Dire Maul North, because I think it's really fun, and it's gonna be a lot of good gold now. Make sure to like this video and subscribe if you found this information useful. If you want to, you can join my Discord, where you can ask questions, make suggestions, or see which project I'm currently working on. You can also check out the stream at twitch.tv/NeceriumClouds. I stream every other day on the evenings, Shastra time, between like 19:30 and 23 or something. Anyway, this was all from me for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back soon with another one, and until then, see ya.